Hey everyone, today is February 28th, 2024, and you might remember about a month ago I made a video opening 1930s baby formula. Well, we got an even older one from the exact same company. This one right here, we believe is from the 1910s, maybe even older. I'm going to give you guys a close-up look at this can. We're going to open it up. We're going to try to make it, see what it tastes like compared to this one. So this one here is much older. The one from a few weeks ago says December 1930. Very old. This one is even older, and it does not appear to have a date on it. All right, everyone. So this right here we opened up in a video about a month ago, and we cooked it up with milk, and we cooked it up with water. It had instructions, and it said we could use either or, so we did that. Today's does not have instructions on milk at all. It just tells you to use water, so we're just going to try making it with water. It's the same company, but this one is much, much older, and it's got a paper label. This one is actually nicely painted on, so you don't have to worry about damaging a label. You can wash it nice and easy. It holds up to the years very well. This one does not. This one right here has a piece of paper on the top. Doesn't say anything. Nope. And this one has a resealable top. So did the other one. This one we're going to pry off with a flathead screwdriver or a paint can opener. So this one over here, it is a resealable top because when you open this can of baby formula, it's not expected to be used at once. Then you go ahead and put it back on. Some of my comments, I guess, didn't understand this. I mentioned when we started turning the key, there may have been a hiss of air. And everyone says, well, it's a resealable container. So for some reason, some people thought that means it wasn't sealed. But before we started twirling this key, it was definitely sealed. And it was perfect, just like the day it was made. Tasted perfect. This was actually so delicious, I drank most of it. And on the top there, back in the day before the barcode and before the price gun, they would just write it on there. I'm assuming that was 75 cents back in 1930. So this one here doesn't have any kind of date on it, not at all. We're going to pry this off, and I'm assuming it's going to be fine. I'm assuming nothing got in there, but this is a less reliable top. You know, this one here wasn't completely sealed. Air can actually get in through that if it's not on there, pressed on there correctly. So now we're going to zoom in, make sure everything focuses in case anyone wants to read the can. And those are the instructions we're going to try to follow. Making sure everything focuses in case you want to read it. All right, so there we go. We do have a date. This one is a little bit older by maybe 5 years. But I like this design a lot better because it holds up to the years when it's painted on instead of just a label. So this right here is from 1925. Still very, very old. Not as old as I thought it would have been. So we always find these cool things. They always have them on online auctions. They also have them in antique shops. Maybe this label will slide off. Let's see what's underneath it. Oh, wow. It's like a book sleeve. There's a much better label underneath. Wow. Look at that. Weird. A label protecting a label. I've never seen that before. And look how pristine the paper is underneath. It looks like it just came out of a printer. Cool. Yeah, it's the exact same thing underneath. Awesome. Look at that. Awesome. There's like a perfect label underneath. I'm going to slide this one back over it later to protect it. That's cool. So, is this the same exact kind of paper? Is that just how faded it became over the years? That's really cool if it is. That is so cool. All right, everyone. So it says, mix the prescribed quantity of the formula in a teacup containing a little cold water, and then work it into a thin, smooth paste to avoid lumps. Add this paste to as much boiling water as the physician prescribed. Allow it to then boil. Add the amount of cow's milk prescribed by the physician. I like how it says remove it from the fire. Assuming back in the day you would have been cooking it over a fire instead of a regular electric stove or something. That's really cool. Love that. So we don't have any milk that I know of. Actually, yes, we do have milk. I do have milk, actually. Let's go find that. All right, it's the only milk I could find in the house. I don't have any actual milk in the house at the moment, but that'll work. Good enough. So let's see if we can get this open, or I'm going to need 2 hands. All right, everyone. Now, let's go ahead and get this thing open. It's on there pretty good. There we go. Got it open. And it looks perfect, actually. Let's see what it smells like. Hard to tell, but I think it went rancid. Yeah, I've smelled things similar to that, and I think it went rancid because with this kind of cover, there's no way it was 100% airtight. But we are still going to try to make it. We're going to put it in a little bit of water. So I got this right here. Going to put just a little bit of water in there. Just like the instructions said. Add a little of it to a teacup of water. I don't have an actual teacup, so let's put some in there. And we don't know exactly how much to put in there because this isn't being prescribed by a physician. So there we go. The powder still is perfectly dry, which is great. It means it was stored in a very dry place, nice and preserved. Go ahead and put this cover back on. Well, that is a very tight cover. So now we're going to take a spoon and we're going to mix it until it becomes hopefully a thick paste like it said. Then we're going to go ahead and put the thick paste into some boiling water. Is that what it said? Let's see what it said. It tells me to add to this paste as much boiling water as the physician said. Allow it to boil about 10 minutes and then you add milk. So, all right, so we're gonna have to get boiling water to add in here to this. Then we can add milk. So see, we got a nice thick paste going. Like it said, just keep on going. Make sure there's no lumps. Although I don't see why it would matter if we're gonna add it to more water. I don't see why we couldn't just add this to the water, but I am going to follow the instructions. It's not like a peanut butter consistency. Let's see if it still smells okay or... All right, it smells kind of good, but it also smells like it could go bad. It could be rancidy, but until I actually taste it, I'm not going to know. So let's get the cooktop out. Let's boil a little bit of water. All right, let's get the cooktop out. I gotta go find an extension cord. And I'm gonna steal this extension cord back. It's the same one I usually keep in back of the table, but I had to do some vacuuming, so. Turn that on high. Let's start boiling some water. We're not going to need too much of it. All right, everyone. It's boiling a whole bunch now. Gonna remove some of the water, only because I really want to be able to actually taste what we're making here. So we're gonna get this paste out of here. Get it to dissolve in the water. Now it says to boil it for about 10 minutes, I believe. Then you're gonna add some milk in here. Let's get more of it out. I already think it went bad, so it makes sense why they went over to the new canning method, like the one we opened last month. Because this already smells nasty. It might taste good. It does smell a little bit like vanilla, but it also smells very rancid. So let's scrape out every little bit. And why am I only making a little bit? Why am I keeping a lot of the powder? Because maybe we'll be able to do some experiment with it someday. Also, the container having a lot of its original content, because like I said, this was definitely not airtight. So opening it up, leaving it on the shelf, it's not really going to affect it. Well, I guess we'll just leave this in there a little bit. Maybe it'll boil off. That's too big, the pot. It's okay, though. Stir it. It says to let it boil for like 10 minutes. There's still some big chunks in there. It's kind of like the consistency of a caramel candy. Having some trouble getting it off my spoon. Very sticky on my hands. Like pancake syrup, what we got going in here now. That's alright. We'll wash the rest of that off later. Now just licking it off my fingers, it does taste very expired. Let's go ahead and open this milk up. Here we go. Now evaporated milk is very good. Sometimes I like drinking it out of the can, although it's got a good amount of calories in there. 40 times 12, that's a lot of calories. Delicious to drink some of that out of the can. Alright, we're going to remove it from the heat in a moment. Not yet. You see there's still, kind of looks like a piece of pasta in there. Still hasn't dissolved yet. We got to leave it on probably for the full 10 minutes. When we take it off, we'll add a little bit of milk in there so it doesn't curdle. But not nearly all of this. I'm going to drink like half of it. This is delicious milk. Five minutes later, look how thick it has become. That's actually very satisfying to look at. Look at that. It thickened up so much. Wow, such a little amount in there. Now that we remove it from the heat, look at that. Still got some big chunks in there. So I guess we'll let it do that for a while longer. If not, it really doesn't matter. We can still taste this with the chunks in there. I don't know if that's going to dissolve or not. Here it goes again. I think we're going to remove it because I'm afraid the stuff itself is going to start burning. But look how much it thickened up. It really became thick. Turn that heat off. Let's add some milk to it. Actually, maybe I'm going to try a little without the milk first. We're going to let this sit for like 5 minutes and cool down so I don't burn my face on that. After a couple minutes of cooling, it kind of looks like there's some film starting on the top as it's cooling down. But it's kind of like when you make stovetop pudding. It makes that thick layer on the top. That's what it kind of resembles. I just kind of broke it apart. That's still not dissolving, but it's okay. Once it cools enough, we'll give it a taste test. We'll mix some milk in, give it another taste test. But based on the smell, based on what I already licked off my finger, this did not hold up like this product. And this, it's not that much older. It's the fact that it was not sealed. This was actually sealed, and we broke the seal with the key. Nice. Now we're going to put this over here with our other baby foods that we've done before. We opened this up at one point. Claps Jr. Vegetables with lamb. We opened this up, which isn't that old. It's maybe 20 years old. Then we had a bunch of these cans we opened from the 80s. They're powdered form, so they obviously tasted good. This one was in a glass jar, so it tasted good. And this was very nasty. And now we can go ahead and put this one back up on the shelf somewhere. It's a bigger can, so I'll put it on a different shelf. We'll put it next to the Yeti steak. All right, everyone. As you see, it's made another film. And if I shake it around, I would break it again. Now I think it's cool enough to finally try. Let's give this a taste test. It's cooled down enough. Just a little bit warm now. Just a little bit of steam coming off it. Now let's see how it tastes. Very thick, feels very oily on my lips. It's got a slight rancid taste, but it's nothing shocking. It really thickened up, but it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste bad either. I would maybe compare tasting a wet cardboard box. Kind of tastes like that. That's what very bland, rancid flavor tastes like. So I know it's bad, but let's see if we can cover it up with some milk. It's kind of cool. Look at that. It's like mixing paint. You see how it didn't really mix in? It's kind of... Actually, that's mixing together quite well. Just shaking it like that. See, it's turned white. No, tastes the same. The milk can't even cover that up. But it's kind of creepy. As I'm here taking a little sip, I see the hard chunks that weren't dissolving slowly sliding back down into the liquid. At least I got another sip of this to cover up that nasty taste. This expired in September of 23, but still tastes good. It's in a can. Things in a can usually last quite a few years past the date. And it is a Best By date after all. Not an expiration. Just means it could get chunky or something after that, but things like this, I've opened them up 5 years, 6 years after. Still taste the same. But not the evaporated milk from the 80s. That turned bright yellow and kind of looks like cheese. All right, everyone. Here we come to the toilet. Time to dump it on out into the toilet bowl. It's very thick. See if we can get this stuff to start dissolving. Let's start running the hot water. Nice and hot. It's making suds. That's some stubborn stuff. Look at that. This water's very hot. And it just won't come off. I guess we gotta soak it for a while. Alright everyone, I hope today's video was interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.